morning, Floss Tube. My name is Cara Lee. Welcome to my channel, Stitching is Elementary. Today is Sunday, January 3rd, and this is Floss Tube number 9. So today I'm going to go over my WIPs for 2020. So it's going to be kind of a long video. So if you don't have a drink, get a cup of coffee or something and sit back, or you might want to watch it in parts. I have only been stitching since October of 2019, so I don't have as many WIPs as a lot of floss tubers that I've been watching, but I still have way too many for how long I've been stitching. So I'm going to go over my WIPs, and then if it's not going too long, my plans, and then my next floss tube will be just like an update video. So let's get started. Okay, so I kind of put them in order. Although this is my second time doing the video, so now they might be out of order a little bit. So however I pull them is how it will be. Okay, so my first one is, it's a free chart, but I can't show it to you because I don't have a picture. So it's called Impossible Odds. And you can get it at Whistle Stop Stitcher Designs. And it says, in the face of impossible odds, people who love their country can change it. And so it's got that verse and then a border and then a flag at the bottom. And I'm doing it on 28 count mushroom Lugana. And I just have that little start right there. My plan was to start it on election day and then finish it by inauguration. I still might finish it by inauguration, but we'll see. I gotta get going if I'm gonna. But it's just a fun little chart. And my floss for that was just red, whites, and blues from my stash. So I chose Victorian Motto Schoolhouse Red. Excuse how those are on there. I gotta fix that. Gentle Art Presidential Blue. And then just 3865 DMC. And that's for everything except for the words, which hers are in, I think, a gray. This Pamlico Weeks Dye Works, show you, is like a gray brown. And it looked really good with the mushroom Lugana. So I think once I get started, that will look good. So that's my plan for that. And then this one is a really teeny start. In fact, I had put it in my plans pile, and then when I checked it, I realized I had actually made a start. So it is by Heartstring Samplery, Cross Stitch Nation. And when I do get to plans, I'll talk about it more, but I would love to have in my rotation a sewing themed one each month, because I would love to get more to put up on the walls in here. And I've collected a ton of sewing themed patterns, but I haven't stitched any of them yet. So I need to get going on that. And I started it on Picture This Plus 20 or 16 count Aida. Oh, I didn't realize this was Aida. Okay. So I used to only stitch on Aida, so I was looking for softer Aida, and Picture This Plus does have really soft Aida. So there's my little start. And I've seen some people make these into a drum, which would be really pretty, but I think I'm going to do it just like that. So I hope to get back to that soon this year. Okay, so you know how I had done those? Well, in fact, I have them right here. So I was going to show you these finishes, so I'll just stop here and do that. I had shown you pretty much, but I don't think I showed it completely, but I did on my Instagram. But these are Gingham Greetings 1 and 2 by Stitching with the Housewives. And I just loved doing them. They were so much fun. And then I did what Lori Holt shows with the fusing the felt on the back with the little button. There's Gingham Greetings 2. I actually just glued this with non-permanent glue, this little heart, because I thought it looked so cute there. And there's the back of that one. So anyway, I have so many of Priscilla and Chelsea's patterns, but the black, when I had first started doing the black, I struggled, and I had told you all about that. So now it was easy. This was 28 count black linen, and I had no problem because I used my readers and my magnifier. Well, this was the first one I started that I had so much trouble with. So it was Hip Hop Chalkful. I love these chalkfuls. I would love to do them all. And this one was on 14 count Aida, but for some reason when I was starting, I feel like your eyes get used to seeing the holes. So now it's much easier. Although I still don't understand why I had trouble on 14 count Aida, because the holes are really big. Like as I'm looking at them, I don't even know why I had trouble, but I did. So I had messed up on this so many times, and then I eventually just put it away. So I'm not even sure that there's not some mistakes in here, but I would like to get it out and work on it again this spring. I think it'll be much easier now. I had just started a project yesterday on 40 count, and it's amazing how, like I said, between my magnifier and my readers, it gets much easier. And even the more you do it, the more, like sometimes I can do it without the magnifier because you just get used to it. So I just think now that I've been cross stitching longer, it should be easier. I'm learning to read patterns and all of that. So hopefully I'll get back to that because it is such a cute pattern. Okay, and I'll just real quick show you the one other finished. I had put this on Instagram, but this was that Marion Minty. And I finished the stitching on Christmas Eve, but then I didn't finish it, I don't think, until like the day after Christmas. So I made it a little pillow. And I made this cording from Vonna Pfeiffer's tutorial. But her tutorial shows to do it for an ornament, and so up the top here she crosses it and makes it come up. Well, I wasn't really paying attention that that's what it was, and I started doing it just like her, and I realized, well, I didn't want to do it into an ornament, so this bow is covering up my kind of mess back there. If you can see, I didn't know how to finish it right, so I have to figure that out. But for now, I've got a little bow covering it. And then here's the back. Yeah, so I like how it came out, other than my little mess up there. But also, she said she couldn't see her stitches when she did it. I can see my stitches from the back, so I need to figure out how to get better at that. Those are my two fully finished Christmas items. Okay, back to WIPs. So then my next WIP, this was I started this last December, and it is All Bundled Up by Brenda Gervais. I just love it. It's so cute. But I started it when I was just doing Ada, and I had hand dyed this Ada myself and then like baked it in the oven, and I'll show you. I didn't like how it came out, so I think, I'm going to actually restart this on a different piece of fabric. And another reason I'm restarting it is she has a bunch of these. So she has a bat for Halloween, and she has a rabbit that I'd like to do for Christmas, or cute white rabbit. So I'm going to restart them all on Weeks gingham fabric. Well, here, first let me show you what I had. So this is what I've had done. You can't see. There we go. A little more over here. My thread's still on there with the needle. Anyway, so that's, not a lot, but I didn't like all this brown up here. I kept telling myself it was fine, but I just don't love it. And then I had the idea, it would be so fun to start, I love the Weeks gingham, so I have it in the beigey brown color. So I thought it would be fun to get all these colors and do each of them on a different color. So I ordered the blue and the purple. There's a green too, but I don't think I ordered the green. And then there's a straw, which I think is lighter than this, that I ordered also. So I'm going to either do this on the blue is my first choice. What I would really like to do it on is blue, but if it doesn't look good with the blue, I think it'll look great on this piece. So I will do it on there. And then I was going to do the rabbit one, which they show on pink. I was going to do it on the purple gingham. And so yeah, so that's my plan for that. Oh, I have two needles stuck in there for some reason. But that's a really fun pattern to stitch. Also, the other reason I'm switching is I would like them all in the same size fabric, and this is 18 count Ada, and I really don't want to do 18 count Ada again, so that way they'll all be the same size, so I can switch them out. Okay, and then this one is Feels Like Home from the Fat Quarter Shop. It was a stitch along they did last spring, and I kind of petered out on the house, so I had changed all the colors up because I wanted to do it to kind of go with my house. And last spring we had a wren nesting in the wreath on my door, and so I made it kind of wren colors. So here are the flosses that I chose, which were very different. They were much more earthy than the flosses that are called for. And I did it on, I think this is also 16 count Ada. That's what I started it on. Sorry for the wrinkles. So that's my progress. So I have a lot more to do, but I would like to work on that a little bit more this spring. I thought it would be cute as a pillow. So yeah, so someday I'll get back to that. Okay, the next one I really love and I really want to get back to and finish. So it's Caterpillar Cross Stitches Positivity Rules Stitch Along. And I have a lot done. I think I got up to month 4 is when I stopped, I think. So I was stopped where I was doing the rainbow. So there's going to be clouds and stuff up there, and I think there might be a little more down here. I'm not totally sure. So I need to get this out and finish it up. I wanted to make this into a wreath for my classroom door. I thought would be cute, even though it's a house. It's so bright, and that's kind of the colors I do at school. I thought it would be just nice for there. So I need to get that finished. Also, they have a new stitch along starting, I'm not even sure when, sometime here in the new year, called Create, I think. And I ordered the kit, but it hasn't come yet because it's coming from England. So who knows when it'll get here. But I would love to finish this first. So I say that, but am I stitching on it right now? No. I should get back to it. And it's just all these bright colors, and I do not have them on a floss string, so I will just show you. There we go. Pretty colors. All DMC and some Cosmo. Okay, the next one I had planned on stitching like weekly. I didn't. I started this on the 4th of July. Plum Street Sampleries, Liberty's Welcome. And it's just, it is a little overwhelming. It's so big, but it's never going to get done if I don't get to it. So I need to start doing it more often, putting some stitches in here and there. I'm thinking what I'm going to do kind of for a rotation is, what I was trying to do was work on like one sampler, one patriotic, one Halloween, one Christmas in the same week. That does not work for me to do like one day for each kind of thing. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to kind of have one big and maybe a smaller 2 each week and work on them each for 2 or 3 days. I find that when I start working on one, I want to work on it for 2 or 3 days. I don't want to put it down. I want to get like a lot done before I move on to something else. So that's kind of my plan each week, to have 2 or 3 projects that I'm working on for 2 or 3 days at a pop. So we'll see how that goes, but this will need to get thrown into there. So here are the flosses, and it's mostly DMC with some hand dyes thrown in. It calls for NPIs, but it gives you the conversion for DMCs. So I picked those, and then I picked some hand dyes to go along. I just wasn't ready to jump into the silks yet. So yeah, and I like variegation, although I guess some silks have variegation and some don't. I don't know that much about silks, but I have gotten a few now, so we'll see. But I think those colors will be good. And here is my start. This is also, ooh, I was into the Picture This Plus Ada. This is also Picture This Plus Ada, and I think it is 16 count Ren, I believe. So here's my start on that. I always start in the top left corner. I don't know why, that's just what makes sense to me. I had tried recently to start in the middle. Ooh, I'm just afraid I'm going to do it wrong. I don't know. It just doesn't click with me. And then here's another patriotic one, and I cannot show you the chart again because it's a free chart, but I'm not even sure if it's still free. It was from Teresa Kogut, United We Stand, so I'll just show you the colors. And she had called, I believe, for, yeah, all DMC, so I picked a DMC, and then I matched hand dyes to it. I just kind of matched my own. And apparently I've taken them out because they're not there, but you can see a little bit of the colors in there. I think I've stored them for other projects. But I did write in pencil what I changed on here. So this was, I think this was actually, yeah, this was Ada 18 count. I hand dyed myself, I believe. And there, I got a good bit done. This took a while. So I need to get back. Their dresses are super big and long, so their dresses come down here. So that's going to take a while, but I think I should be able to have this done by this summer to put it up. That would be like one of the smalls I would throw in with a bigger project each week. Now this next one is, and I don't have the picture here. I don't know what I did with it, but it's Coming to America, which I'm sure you've all seen. And I had ordered the kit from Kitten Stitcher, and it was 16 count Ada kit, and so here's, you know, it's really long. So here's my start on the border, but I stopped because I wasn't totally loving stitching on the Ada. So I thought about switching it, and I'm like, I don't know, I already have this whole big piece, I should really use it. But then I saw, I think Christy at Cross Hatch Quilts, but I could be wrong, switched to Vintage Country Mocha 40 count, and I actually have some of that. So I have to check and see if it's a big enough piece, because I think that would be really pretty with it. So here are the flosses, and this was the floss kit that came. So it is a lot of the same colors. You have Gentle Arts Apple Cider, Endive, Wood Trail, and a lot of this Mountain Mist, which is like a aqua green color. And then the white is Grits, and then tons of Oscar. I find a lot of the patterns I like call for Oscar. So yeah, so we'll see. I may change that to the Vintage Country Mocha. Okay, now we're getting into some Halloween, which if you have watched me before, you know I have lots of Halloween. So this pattern I would love to get on and get done by this year, because this one's so cute, and I have a plan for how I want to finish it. But it's Rovera Salem 1692. If you haven't watched me before, I love witches for Halloween. Not gross witches, but cute witches. Witches are my thing. So in here, this is on 16 count Ale Picture This Plus Ada. I was loving that Ada. Well, I liked the Picture This Plus Ada because it's so soft, and I was looking for an Ada that wasn't stiff. Now that I'm onto linen, I tend to go more Zweigart, or I love Extrude Designs linen, but for Ada, I really love the Picture This Plus. So not a bad start, but I need to get back to it. And these project bags, I'm sure you've seen, they're from Amazon. I use them in my classroom as well. They're great bags. We use them for math kits in the classroom. But I love the fancy project bags, which you'll see I have a few of, but you know, obviously I have way too many WIPs. So these are just so easy to throw them in, and they're really cheap on Amazon. They just have a nice zipper top. They come in either all black or in packs with different colors, so I kind of try to match them to my project. Yeah, so they're great. Okay, the next one. Of course, I'd also like to finish. I'd like to finish them all, but I do really love this one. It is Bobbing for Pumpkins by Brenda Gervais. I love so many designers, but I think if I had to pick one that I couldn't live without, it might have to be her. She just, I don't know what it is. I love her designs. So I'm doing mostly the called for colors. I just switched out the stars in the sky because they weren't showing up on my fabric. She does some little stars up in the background, and instead of, I think it was a white, I did this blue color, which is Old Money by Classic Colorworks. But pretty folly colors. Look, that one, I don't know what happened. I gotta fix that. And then here is my start, also on 16 count Ada. So cute, that little witch. I love her little shoes and her little polka dot skirt. Adorable. And Priscilla had finished hers in such a cute way. I'm sure you watch Stitching with the Housewives. If you don't, you should go back and watch them. They're really funny. And she finishes beautifully. So anyway, yep. Let me get back to that one. I need to retire. I love my job, but oh, it's hard to, I'm so tired when I get home, and I know I've said that before, but it's hard to get much done. Okay, so this one I am almost ready to finish. So this one's from this Blackbird Design Sewing Club book, and it is In My Garden, I think, or Come Into My Garden. My Garden, just My Garden. Yeah. So here she shows it in a drum, and I should have made a copy of this and used it, made a working copy, because look, the book just the other day came apart because I keep folding it. So I'm going to do it like that and put it in a frame. And this was my first, I think this is my first foray into linen. So this is 28 count vintage country mocha. I just love vintage country mocha. I really do. And I have a lot done on this. Excuse my wrinkle. Put this right so we can see. Okay. Oops. And it's upside down. Okay, there we go. So I just have some more motifs over here to do. And I am done. So I need to pull that out and get that done one week. Probably a few hours each night of a week I could probably get it done. So yeah, so that is my garden from the Sewing Club book. And there are so many cute patterns in here. So I need to get back to that. And we have another Halloween, and my plan, like I always would love to do like a pattern a month of all these series. But of course I didn't. But this is Cauldron Cleaner from the Scary Apothecary series from Hands on Design. And I am doing it on the 32 count smoky white linen because hers is 32 count. I want to finish it, I think, like she did, unless I come up with something else. So these are super cute patterns. So, but I only have a start on one of them. Excuse my wrinkly linen. So that's just the top part, and I did make a working copy for this one because this was, I found it difficult to not get in where the letters are supposed to be. So if you see, the letters are in gray, like I think it's River Rocks. So you got to be sure that your counting is right so that you don't accidentally put orange where the letters are supposed to be. So so I made a working copy and I highlighted it as I did each stitch, and that worked really well. But it did take a while. And I picked mostly called for or very similar to called for colors. I know I changed out the orange. It was Pumpkin Harvest, I think. It's a much lighter orange, and I made it Victorian Motto Sunspots. I just went with a little brighter orange. And then the green is Victorian Motto Country Lime. Like I said, similar to what she called for. And then, yeah, River Rocks is the gray, and then there's Zach Black. And there's a purple in there also. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, there's also blue. So the Shamrock, which I thought was interesting, it's like a tealy blue. And then there is a, this is the purple. It is a very fine braid 242 HL Krennic purple glittery floss. All right, let's see. Yep, another Halloween. Okay, so this Halloween is Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio. And if you've never checked out Lila's Studio, she has an Etsy shop, and I love all of her things. She does a lot of Quaker-ish kind of designs and just lots of cool stuff. So I don't have any plans to finish this anytime soon. It's a lot, but it's very pretty. This is on 16 count Ada I Dyed Myself gray, and here is my progress. This, sorry, I had trouble with this. This is really intricate to me, at least here. And I was working on it, I think, a little before Mania and then throughout Mania, and I kept messing up and having to pull that out. I kept counting wrong. So I tried a hoop for it, or a Q-snap, and that made it a lot better. So that's kind of the first time I used Q-snap, was on this one. Especially when I'm tired, I find I like a Q-snap. It just really helps me to see the holes better. And then here I am using all the called for colors for this. And I feel like I'm missing some from here. I know I'm missing a purple. The purple's a Rainy Day. Am I? Oh no, it's there. They're just all squished together. But I still feel like there should be more here. I might have stolen them for other stuff. But really pretty, really vibrant flosses. That looks so pretty when you twist them. So yeah, that is Halloween Quaker. And this would be cool too. You could take off different motifs and make like little pillows. Like you could just do a pillow with that witch. You could just do a long pillow with that village at the bottom. So it's a really versatile pattern, I think. Okay, and then this was another stitch along with a Fat Quarter Shop. This was Fright Night. And I really was trying to get this one done, but It didn't happen. We got to like the day after Halloween and I was like, I'm moving on. So I'm doing this on 16 count flapper, I think, or am I doing 28 count? This might actually, no, I think this is 28 count. I switched over to 28 count. And here's my progress, but I love it on the purple. It's really fun. Yep, so that should be able to get done by next Halloween. You see I put it in a bag with a purple zipper at the top. I love matching things. Okay, and then the next one, I may restart. I'll tell you right now. This is Plum Street Samplers, Jack's Bash. And I started it for Sampler September because I thought it'd be good to work on Halloween right before October, and it was Sampler September, so it's a sampler. So I thought it was good to work on that. And I love the design. I think it's so cute. But here's my problem. First, I started on Witch Out. I don't remember the name of the color. And it's pretty stiff and pretty see-through. So I didn't love that. Also, but more importantly, I think I would stay with this fabric, but I think I want to go to hand-dyed flosses. So I had picked all the DMCs that she called for. But I was watching Emily C. of Eclectic Possessions on on Instagram. She was posting hers, and she used hand dyes, and it looks so pretty, the variegation that you get. So then I was like, oh, I stopped then because I was like, oh, I don't want to do any more because I might want to just restart it. So I could either rip out that grass and restart it on this fabric, or I could just restart it on a whole new piece of fabric, which, since I'm not in love with this fabric, probably would be the easiest. So the floss colors are really pretty. Well, this must be before I got rings. I have nothing on rings here. You know, they're really pretty. It's just, I really love the variegation. So I'm missing that with these. So I think I would pick similar colors, but variegated. Although this one, oh, I do have one variegated one in there. Frog Prints by Victorian Motto. See, yeah, that would be really pretty. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Just have to bite the bullet. That did seem like a lot of stitching, but I want to love it when I'm done, so. Let's see. Okay, so then this one is just fall, which I usually have mostly Halloween, but this is Hands on Design, Let's Talk Autumn. And I have hardly anything done on, but I love these, so I will get it done. And there's a small in with it, and then this little pillow. So it's nice, you get all three. And I'm doing it on 32 count Zweigart charcoal. And I just have the first few words, or letters, done. I also have Let's Talk Winter. I haven't even started it, but I really like all the Let's Talk ones. They're cute. And I was just using the called for DMC, which I really like. They're really pretty. And when you're doing letters, you're not going to see the variegation much anyway. So, pretty pretty. Okay, so the next one, we're moving on to kind of Thanksgiving-ish, is Feast of Friendship by Hands on Design. And this was a stitch along that Lori Holt and Christy from Crosshatch Quilts were doing together, and then a whole bunch of people on Instagram started doing it. I really was drawn to the blue house. I know most people love red houses. I love blue. So I really like that. This is on Marbled Bunny 32 count. And I am using colors that I picked from my stash, but are very similar to the called for colors. So here are my colors. There's like 3 blues in it. And then just all the purples, pinks, greens. Really pretty flosses. And here is my start. I got that body of that house done. Woo, that was something else doing that house. And then I have a lot of the border done. I need to do more of the border over here. And I've started on the roof. The roof is like checkerboard. So yeah, I'm not going to get back to that super soon, but I do want to have it done for next year. And I do really like stitching on it. So I know when I get back to it, I'm not going to want to put it down. So maybe I'll get back to it and like do it for a couple weeks straight and just knock it out. We'll just see how this year goes. We are starting back to school on Monday. Kids come back Tuesday, and so far we're still in person. So things have kind of been, numbers have been going up around here. So I've been trying to kind of not go out as much as I was. And I mean, I always wear a mask, but just trying to stay home more, which means ordering more online. Although I do run out to the quilt shop probably too often. Okay, the next one is a gift I was making for my son, which he'll probably get next year. Well, he'll definitely didn't get this year. Hopefully we'll get next year. And it is Rockets of Human Space Travel by Flossy on Etsy. And it is all the different ships throughout the year. And I've said before, he's an aerospace engineer, so he's very into all this, as we all are. We all love space in this family. So this is actually a Fabrics by Stephanie hand-dyed fabric, but I do not know the name of it. I didn't order it from her. I found it at a shop. And that's my little baby start. I just started on this side with, what rocket ship is this? This is the Redstone. And I'm working my way over. But I really like that. I think in a black frame it would look really cool in his office or somewhere. Hopefully he doesn't like stick it in the closet. He usually likes all the things, in fact, that I make. I find that I don't finish my sentences a lot when I'm doing these. I need to be more careful of that. I had made him a quilt ages ago, and he had gotten a new puppy, and the puppy ate holes like in all his quilts. And this one, it ate the edges of the quilt and a hole. Oh, I could have killed him. So he brought it home a long time ago and wanted me to fix it. I'm like, I'm not sure how I'm going to fix this. So at Christmas when he was here, he's like, did you fix my quilt yet? So I got it out and started working on it, but he does love his quilts. Okay, now we are into just recent starts. So recent WIPs that I started for Christmas. So this one I have shown, well, I've shown all these before, but this is White House Stitcheries Holly Jolly 9-patch. And she is an Etsy shop. And I've said before, her and her mom have a floss tube here, Crafty Cottage Stitches, and they're on Instagram as well. So I started this on 25 count vintage country mocha, and I am finding that 25 count Lugana and 28 count linen are really my favorites for the feel and the ease. I don't mind doing the 2 strands of floss, and they just lay so nice on the 25 and the 28 count. And I love the feel of the Lugana. It's soft, it's not stiff, but yet it has body. So it's really easy to see the holes and stitch it. So just a teeny start on that. But I'm thinking, you'll see a project I want to do later. This is a huge piece. I don't think I'm going to need all this. I know I'm not going to need it all for this pattern. So I need to measure it out and cut it off so that I can use it for another snowman-y project. So that's my little start on that. And she also has a Halloween 9-patch pattern, which is so cute. So being a quilter, I love the 9-patch idea. And then these I have not put on floss rings, so there you go. I kind of got stalled on doing my floss rings. I was making my own, and then I got the ones from Fat Quarter Shop, which I love, but there's no place to put the number. So I wanted to use my label maker and print out the number, because I feel like the labels stick better than those little DMC stickers that you get. And I left my label maker at school. So I have all these DMCs sitting around that I need to put on my floss drops, and I can't. Okay, next we've got Vintage Christmas Sampler by Lori Holt. And I did not start this as all one piece. I would like to do it as all one, but I wanted to make ornaments for in my sewing room here. I want to have a like sewing themed Christmas tree. So I had started ornaments for that. And I'm doing this on 14 count. It's a white sparkly Ada I got at Hobby Lobby. And I tea coffee dyed it. So let's see. So I cut them all up into little pieces like this. I finished this little candy cane. I started the little snowman. And that's as far as I got. So we will get back to that sometime. And I just picked my own flosses for that. Just colors that I love. that are never in any patterns because they're probably too bright. So this pink I got a long time ago because I just really liked it. It's DMC 894. It's just a pretty pink. And then the red is 349. So that's what the candy cane is out of. Okay, what's this one? Okay, so this is Lizzie and Kate Jingles, and this is the one I'm on. I am doing them as all one, so this is what it'll look like when it's done. And I'm doing it on 28 count ale by Picture This Plus, but it's an ale sparkle. And here is my progress. So I finished the first one and just very little start on the second block there. And you see it's going to be a pretty long piece. So I'd gotten a really big piece of this and I cut it in half, and I'm doing tingles on one piece and jingles on the other. And for this I went by the called for colors, but once again I subbed in some of the colors I have. I need to make some of those little itty bitty boards that you can stick your floss on. Like I have design boards I use for quilting, but she sells little ones now, but I know how to make it. In fact, I have foam core board right here that I'm going to cut up and start making more of them. But here are the colors for that. And if they're not called for, they're very similar to the called for. That's a fun one to work on because they're little, so you get like gratification quickly. I have a whole stack right here. I didn't put them back in the basket, and I hope they don't fall over. Okay, so this next one is a kit I ordered from Country Sampler, I think, online. I always forget the name of the place, but they have beautiful kits. So this is Stacy Nash Primitives Gathering the Greens. I love the colors in that. I'm not a bright red, bright green for Christmas. I really do like more subdued colors. And that's like a yellow house, and then there's like pinks and reds. You can see right here. So this was a kit, so it came with the floss and the fabric. Love those colors. It is Brick by Weeks and Cinnabar, the red and pink. So pretty. And then the greens are Oscar again. Told you. I love Oscar. Grapevine is a brown. Charcoal. Garrison green, which is like a darker green. And then the house is this really pretty yellow. Bee's Knees. Oh, very pretty. So love those colors. I do not know. I know this is a 36 count linen. And here's my teeny weeny little start. I don't know the color of this linen because it came in the kit. And I don't remember. So yeah, that was fun. That was my first time doing 36 count, and I liked it. As long as I have my magnifier, I'm fine. Okay, we're on to our last one. Let's see, what time are we at? 38 minutes. Okay, not bad. So this one I actually started back in October. And this is going to be for my older daughter someday when it gets done. Could be 5 years from now, who knows. It is Bothy Threads, the Christmas Nutcracker, and it comes as a kit, and it comes with this navy blue Ada. But I switched up the fabric, and I am going to switch up the threads as I go along. For right now, I just switched. This was a really bright yellow, and I wanted a more like rich muted gold, so I switched that up because that's all I did. So this is a Weeks Blue, and I don't remember the name of it. So all I got, not even done, was the border. If I get close, you can see it's that gold color. So that's it. So I need to work on that. These are the colors it came with, which I like most of them. So I'll probably pull hand dyes that are very similar. But the first one that I did pull was a DMC because I really liked this gold color. It's DMC 680, and I thought for that skinny border you're not going to see variegation, so I would just go with DMC. So yeah. Alright, and that is all of my WIPs. So I think we can get into plans. Might just be an hour long video. Okay, so for plans, well, first of all, I got this A Needlework Enthusiast 2021 Book of Days by Needlework Press. So I'm going to use that this year to just track my progress. So I already started, and I'm just gonna write down like my plans for the month here and then what I do on each day. I had been using the Lori Holt Scrappy Project Planner, which I use for quilting and stitching. And I'm still going to use this for like my quilting project plan. So like here's an example of a quilt I've been working on. And you can put fabric samples, and like this is the block right there, which I'll show sometime in my regular update video. So yeah, so I'm still going to use this for that, but for my daily progress, especially for stitching, I'm going to write it in here because I ran out of the calendar in that one. Okay, so my plans are, for January especially, I'm thinking samplers and snowmen. Samplers are going to be the whole rest of the year because I started some pretty big projects. But right now I'm into snowmen because it's January. So I have a ton of snowman patterns, so I'm just going to stitch as many of them up as I can. Hopefully finish, not just start them. So let's go with samplers first. So this probably should have been in my WIPs. This was my Christmas Day start. And I decided to start Anniversaries of the Heart, which in my update videos I've showed these and said I wanted to start them. This one, the first one is Snow Garden, and it's by Blackbird Designs. And I was inspired by Olivia at Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I was watching her progress all this year, and it was just beautiful. And so I thought I would start that. I'm not sure. I think my grandmother on my dad's side, her birthday was in January, so I think I'm going to put her in there, but I'm still deciding that. So I've heard a lot of conversation about the colors in here. I pulled the colors that's called for, and then I decided that I was just going to I'll pull them and look at them, but then I'm going to pick colors that I really like that I think would go together well. So hopefully you like the colors I chose, but I went very soft. I went different. But I still feel like it's really wintry looking. Well, first of all, I had a big piece, and I'm doing this on 28 count, so this thing's going to be giant. I think, what is the finished stitch count is 387 by 261 if you stitch it all as one, and you leave, I think, 3 stitches in between each month. So, but she calls for 30 count, so I thought, well, I can do it on 28 count, and like I said, I'm really loving the 28 count, and I had this already, I didn't have to buy it. So it's 28 count cream Zweigart. So I tea dyed it, did not tea coffee, I tea dyed it very lightly, and I love how it came out. So just to show you the tea dyeing, came out really pretty. Now this wasn't white, this was cream Zweigart. And then let me show you my colors first. So here are the colors I chose. A lot of these are Victorian Motto. So I chose Prim Cupboard, just cool tealy green. The border is going to be 12 grain, which is like my new favorite white by Classic Colorworks. This Old Mint by Victorian Motto, which I love. It's just a real pale minty green. And then Oatmeal, which I think actually was one of the called for colors by the Gentle Art. So those are my border. There's 3. And then Wild Greens will be a lot of the plant stems by Victorian Motto. Artichoke by Weeks Dye Works. Lexington Green by Gentle Art. Now this was a called for color. I can't remember if I'm actually going to use it. I ended up switching out. I liked this artichoke with it. It was just a little softer and brighter, and I thought it looked better because the tops of the plants are this one, and with my wild greens I liked the artichoke better than this one. So anyway, and then there's some cocoa. One of the stems is cocoa, which was called for. And then the peacock was, I want to say it was a brown, but I chose this Victorian Motto Fog, which is a pale tealy blue, which I really love. It really looks nice with the prim, I think, at least. You guys are probably all like, what did you do? And then Toasted Barley was called for, so I'm using that. And then it called for, can't remember, hold on, let me see. Harvest Basket Gentle Art, which I couldn't find anywhere, so I just looked up a picture of it and I picked Weeks Dye Works Gold to kind of use for that. And then Wood Trail. So those are my colors, and I really love how they look on here. They look pretty. Okay, so here's what it looks like. Here's my progress. The other night we were watching the Clemson Ohio State game. Ooh, if you like football, that was a good game. Especially if you're not a Clemson fan, it was a good game. And I got a lot done. So here is my progress. I have the whole border done. I just have to do the special stitches in his tail of the peacock. And I have the plants, some of them done here at the bottom. And I started on the house right here. I always feel like when I'm filming this you can't see, but then when I go back and watch it you can. So I think you can see that okay. So I'm really loving those softer colors. So I'm going to continue that throughout for next month. So I'm going to pick just colors that are similar, but just more of a softer palette. And there's going to be the brick, it's a brick house next month, and it's going to be a pinky brick, I think. So anyway, I'm excited about that. So my plan is to do one block a month, and I'm ahead of the game here because I haven't been at work. So my plan is to finish this one in January and then start the February one. Okay, so then the other sampler, this was my New Year's Day start, although I made a teeny start and then I had to rip it out and switch fabric because, okay, well first let's show you. This is Heloise Cornu, 1896. And I had showed this back in October as well. That's when I had gotten it and decided I was going to start stitching some reproduction samplers. And then I really love the French style, so I ordered a bunch of these Reflets des Soirs. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that. This one I got from Kitten Stitcher, but what do you think drew me on this one? Yeah, the pink flowers. Oh my gosh, those pink flowers. Probably a lot of you don't like pink. You're probably like, ugh. But, oh, I love it. So I ordered that, but someone on Instagram, V. Cole on Instagram, she asked me if I wanted to stitch it along with her. So we decided to do a New Year's Day start. So I started it, and I had ordered, I love that marbled bunny fabric, and I thought that'd be really pretty. It looks like a kind of creamy, vintagey fabric, and I thought it'd be great. So I ordered it in 32 count. Well, it wasn't going to be big enough. So then I ordered it in 40 count, and I swear I measured it and it was going to be fine. And so I started it on New Year's Day, and I had just done a teeny bit of the green up here of the leaves in that corner. And then when I went back to work on it again that day, I was kind of looking at it and I was like, is this wide enough? Because this is huge. This pattern is .283 by 320. Yeah. So it needs to be a 21 by 22 piece on 40 count. Mine was 18 by 27. So I was like if I did it 18, I would have had like an inch to spare, and I really want to get this professionally framed when I'm done someday. So I was like, oh darn, I really wanted to use that fabric. But so I thought, well, let me run to my quilt shop. My quilt shop, Tiny Stitches in Marietta, Georgia, has been carrying some Weeks cross stitch fabrics, and I was so excited when they started carrying those. So I ran over there and I thought, well, they're probably not going to have anything that I'm going to like. They're definitely not going to have the marble bunny. But they did have a really big piece of Weeks Dye Works beige, and I really did like it with the flosses. I was surprised. So I did get to restart it again yesterday. So I'm using the called for DMCs, which I think are beautiful. Purples, blues, yellows, greens. And these are the floss drops I make myself. I use a die cutter and cut them out. But if I can start using those Fat Quarter Shop ones, that would be a lot easier, because then this is a pain. You have to cut out one at a time, and then I have to cut the circle out. So that would be nice. Anyway, look at those pinks. Ah, love it. So there's the flosses, and here is my little baby start. Move the needle. So once again, I did start in the top left corner. And I got just last night to a little bit of that pink rose. I'm going to love this border. I'm so excited. but I think it looks good. So here you can't really tell because I don't have that much done, but here's the flosses on that beige. What do you think? Well, let me lay them out better. Yeah, I think those look good in there. So it's just a little darker than the marbled bunny, but I like it. Might be even more vintagey. So yeah, so that, I have no plans of when I'm ever gonna get this done, but I am really enjoying stitching on it. This is 40 count, so this is my first time doing 40 count, and I'm really liking it. Like I said, as long as I have my magnifier. The only problem I ran into is last night I was getting kind of tired, so I thought, well, I'm gonna put it in my Q-snap, but I couldn't use my Q-snap and my Halo Go, which is like a standing little, it's like a little portable light, which I've shown in my Vlogmas. I showed it once. So it didn't work. This kept hitting the bar of the Halo Go. I always want to say Halo Glow. So I would need to get a big light and magnifier that came down to be able to use this. So someday maybe I'll do that. So yeah, so those are my two samplers that I plan on working on all this year. And then I'll add into that just like monthly seasonal stitching. So my thought is for this month, snowmen, and then for next month, probably Valentine's Day-ish stuff. And then I also would love to throw in some sewing themed, like I talk about with Cross Stitch Nation, and some bee theme, because I've been collecting sewing cross stitch patterns and bee cross stitch patterns, because in my dining room, I love bee stuff, and I just love them. So I just pulled out a bunch of all of those that I will show you. Okay, so let's start with the snowmen. Well, first, let's just show you what my WIPs that I've started. So a few days ago, I started the Prairie Schooler January. I love a lot of these monthly Prairie Schoolers. February, I don't love so much. So, well, I love the small that comes with February. So they all come with this big one and a smaller one. And the small for February has George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and some hearts and stuff. So I made you that one instead for February. But they're really cute. So I would love to do them for all the months. Most of them I really like. And well, look at this cross stitch bag. I got this from Creative Carol on Etsy. And I just love the size. It is so much smaller than mine. Like, look at that difference. But it just is so much more handy. This one just is too big. So I need to make some smaller ones like this, and I need to order some more from her because she did a beautiful job. She kept me updated on when it was coming. Here's the back. Cute. Love those snowmen. So that's perfect for this pattern. So yeah, so Creative Carol on Etsy. I think it's with a K. I'll link it below. So I decided to start this on, I had some 25 count Platinum by Lori Holt. And so here's my start. Once again, I said I'm loving stitching on this 25 count Lugana. So cute. And I did change up the colors a little bit. Lori Holt had shown hers on Instagram, and so I didn't copy her colors, but I used it kind of as inspiration because I really liked the brighter color palette. And once again, they are not on floss drops, so this is going to be hard. They're all DMCs, well, except for one Cosmo, which I'll show you here. So here's all the colors of DMC, the bright colors. Actually, I'm going to do the house in blue. On this, it is brown, but you know, I love blue houses, so I'm going to do them blue. So I think those all look really nice together. And then the one other color is this red Cosmo. It is 5005, and it is what they call their Seasons. Seasons Cosmo, and it's variegated. So it's a variegated red. And I really like it because it goes from like a pinky red to a tomatoey red. So I think it's really pretty. And then here are my browns that I've chosen so far. So I used a little bit of gray. And then this brown is for the broom, the bottom of the broom. This is the skin color. and then just a regular 3865 white. The skin I did in, if you're looking for a good skin color for DMC, it's 948, and I really think it looks nice on him. So I'll show you what those look like on here. So this is that lighter brown is the bottom of the broom, and then I'm using that also for the writing. And then on the called for this background part here of this little bump out is gray, but since my fabric was gray, I thought, oh, I can just leave it, but I didn't really like it. So I did that light blue, the DMC 3811 for that. So that's all I have done. Let me work on that today. I'm in a snowy mood. You'll see I started something already this morning new. But yeah, so that's one of my new starts for January. Sorry, you have to wait for me to put stuff away. And then this morning, I was watching Priscilla and Chelsea's video from yesterday, and I thought, oh, I want to do so many of theirs. So I started this one, Snow Delivery. Now I wanted to make these, actually I'm going to do these on, I did the Christmas ones, these on black, but I'm going to do these on like a vintage country mocha color, or tan is what I wanted to do. And I want them for a dough bowl that I have. But if I didn't have 28 count, which is what it calls for, and it would be 3 inches by 4 inches on 28 count. So I have a big piece of vintage country mocha 18 count Ada that I had planned for something and then changed my mind about using the Ada. So I thought, oh, I'll use that because it's the color I wanted. But then I'm like, they're going to be teeny. They would have been like 2.5 by 2.5. And for this dough bowl I have, I really need them bigger than 3 by 4. I'd like them to be at least 5 by 5. So I am doing over 2 on 18 count Ada, and I really love the way it looks. I thought, well, I'll try it and see. But I like it. So here it is. And this is over 2. So it's really like 9 count. But I love how it looks. And I like it better than doing, I have a piece of Lori Holt 10 count, which I did for her, I forget what they're called. It's the club I'm in where you get, she has like 4 designs in a pack. I'm just blanking on the name. But anyway, I did the witch hat. The holes were so big. I just didn't like how the floss pooled or laid in those big holes. So I love this because you're getting it bigger than even the 10 count, but it's still teeny holes. So the floss lay is really nice. So 18 count Ada over 2. I love it. So it's going to come out to be like above 5 inches. Like maybe it was even 6 by 7. I don't know, it might have been 5 by 6, but anyway, it's going to come out bigger. So it'll be perfect for those, for my dough bowl. Yeah, so I did all that this morning while I was watching Meet the Press and Stitching with the Housewives. I thought, so what I'll do is I'll always have one other project going, and each time I watch their videos, I'll work on it. If not, you know, other times. But so I started working on it while I was watching their videos, and then I turned on Meet the Press, and it keeps me calm while I'm watching all my political news, if I just keep stitching. So it's mostly called for colors, but I didn't have all of them. This blue, the blue of the scarf is Deep Blue Sea by Classic Colorworks, which I have never seen that one yet. I did not get it. I would like to because I love blues, and I love the colors that they called for. So I tried to pick really close to that. So I had a Victorian Motto Seaside Blues, which is really variegated, so I thought that would be pretty. I'm going to use that for the truck, and then I'm actually going to go darker because this is the only one I had that went. Weeks Dye Works Navy, but I thought those two, which will just be like the edge of his hat, but I thought those two looked good together. It is a lot darker. I don't know, we'll see. And then the white is Antique Lace. I did not have the white she called for. And then Embers is the orange, which she did call for Embers. And then the red was Ribbon Red, I think. Yeah, and I chose, and I didn't have that. And I wanted it a little deeper. So this is Weeks Dye Works Louisiana Hot Sauce. And it's nice and variegated. And that'll be for the cardinals. And we have so many cardinals here, which I've said before where I live. And they're just a little darker red, really. And then Black Coffee. And then just a little bit of Blushing Beauty it calls for by Classic Colorworks. And the brown I'm using is Wood Trail, which it calls for Pebble Beach, but I didn't have that. So those are my colors. They look like, so I think that'll be pretty. So I should have that done pretty soon. So those are the two snowy ones I have started. But then my plans, what I would like to eventually stitch is, this is another one by White House Stitchery. I got the picture, yeah. So she just came out with this, and I think it's so cute for in your kitchen. It's called Cozy Winter Wishes. And then she came out with a Valentine's Day one yesterday. I think it was yesterday. That is so cute also. So definitely check her out on Etsy, White House Stitchery. Really cute stuff. And I'm going to do that on the rest of my Platinum 25 count. And then I have just a bunch of other ones I would like to start. And I have these flosses, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what they're for. I think maybe I picked them to go with the Winter Wishes. I think I did, yeah. So I think those were the flosses I was going to use for that. Well, I was more ahead on that than I thought. Okay, so I would oh, stitch cards. That's what that last one I was trying to remember. I did the witch hat stitch cards on the 10 count Lori Hope fabric, but I think I would like it better on 18 count over 2. But anyway, here is the set C, the winter stitch cards. So I would love to do those. I definitely want to get to these, but I keep not getting to them. January Wordplay, and I'm seeing this come up all over Instagram by Brenda Gervais. I really need to start that. And that I even picked fabric for. I have this week's 32 count. I'm going to do it on. I really want these ones done too. Little House Needleworks, the ABCs. This is the winter ABCs. So maybe I'll make a start. We'll see. And then these two are some new patterns. Burr, It's Snow Cold Outside by Brenda Gervais. So cute. And I think I'm going to do that on week's parchment with the call for colors, because I love those colors. And then this is the one I think I'm going to do on the 25 count Vintage Country Mocha. It's Mr. Marshmallow. It's another one of the Cup series by Brenda Gervais. And Java Girl Stitches just showed this on her Instagram, and I think she did it on 25 count Vintage Country Mocha, and it looks so cute. I like the green, but I don't like, I feel like the white, like you see the green through it when you look closely at it. So I just didn't love that. And in my kitchen, I think the Vintage Country Mocha would look the best. And I love it on that 25 count. It makes it bigger, but I really like it. So that's my plan for that. So those are all my Snow Mini plans, so we'll see how many I get to. And then, like I said, I would also love to do a sewing theme, because I have so many and I just love them. I would love to have them up on my wall in here, and some bee stuff. So I'll just show you a few of those and then we're done. So the first sewing theme one I've kitted up, and I'm definitely going to be starting here soon, is Fat Quarter Shop is doing Sew by Row. It's a Lori Hope pattern. So I bought the pattern a while ago, and I asked for the floss pack for Christmas, and my lovely son Isaac bought it for me. So I was so excited when I opened my stuff on Christmas. So here's the floss pack. And then my daughter Greta also got me the Cloud 25 count Lugana, which we know I love now. So, oh, isn't that going to be so pretty? And it really goes with my room in here. So yeah, I can't wait to work on that. So that's going to be my first sewing theme project. My daughter Greta also got me a lap stand for my Q-snap from Etsy. But unfortunately, the screws were broken. They were stripped, so it was wobbly. So they're sending me a new one already though. So that's good. So there's that. And then I just have a whole bunch of sewing patterns I'll go through and show you. Yeah, this is just going to be a longer than normal video. So maybe you get some inspiration for the new year. Well, the first one is free. This is by Lila Studio, and you can get it on her Facebook page. You just download the picture. She has the picture and then she has the chart. So isn't that cute? I love anything with tomatoes in it. And then this one is called Spools of My Thread. Oh, it was by Not Forgotten Farm, but apparently it was a part of their 2014 Little Stitches Handwork Club. But I thought that was really cute. They made it into a little bag. And then Little House Needleworks Traveling Stitcher. It says the patterns are both the patterns for both projects are included. The project keeper and the needlebook are sold separately with limited availability. I don't know, but I was thinking I would just make it into a project bag, because it says wherever I go, whatever I do, I'm never alone, my stitching comes too. That is so cute. And I already kitted it up with a floss. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's mostly, yeah, I had all the called for. Maybe I ordered it like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I would love to get that. This one is Jardin Privé, if I'm saying that right. Design Natalie Cichon, but it's Jardin des Bobbins. And once again, sorry for butchering the French language. I did take French. I didn't do very well at it, but I did take it. Remember my teacher's name, I think, was Madame Young. She was scary. Plum Street Samplers, Count Twice, Stitch Once. I would really love to do this very soon. I love this one. And then we have Brenda Gervais, Queen of the Needle. Cute little pillow there. Plum Street Samplers, Sew Sisters. I love their fat skirts. So cute. I have Gentle Arts has a tomato color floss that I love, that I was planning on using for these. And then Brenda Gervais, I Collect Pin Cushion. And you add your own buttons on there. I love these mice ones. Brenda Gervais, Mice in the Sewing Room. I can't believe I haven't done this one yet. This one's cute. Waxing Moon Designs, My Stitching Time. And it says, my stitching time is sometimes for your safety. Remember that. And then Heart and Hand, Needle and Thread. Lizzie Kate, Life's a Stitch. See, if I got these all done, I could make a whole like gallery wall in here. Wouldn't that be cute? Oh, Project Quarantine, Stay Home and Stitch. So I never did this one because when I got it, I realized there was some over one, and I was still stitching on Ada, so I wasn't sure how to take care of that. So now that I'm stitching on linen, I need to do that one. And then Primitive Hair, a Stitcher's Sampler, and this has bees and stitching in it. I totally love that. Those are all bees. I don't know if you can tell at the top and bottom. I think I would change the colors, but yeah, I like that. And then I got this one last year for Christmas, so I need to do it. Little Dove Designs, Home of Stitcher, and I love those colors. I love it just like it is. And then Needlework by Kathy Barrick. And I would definitely change these colors. They're just a little too, I don't know, prim, what would you call it? A little too dark for me. And then by Lori Holt, So She Did. And I've had this one for a long time. And I have all the DMC floss ready to go. I just have to pick my fabric. I like it on the white, but on Fat Quarter Shop's Floss Tube channel, they showed it on a natural color, and I really loved that. So I've been trying to decide what I want to do. I also have this, there is a quilt pattern for this as well, so I have that too. I think it's really cute. So those are all my sewing themed patterns. And then we have these, lots of bee themed patterns. We have Country Cottage Needleworks, Bee Virtues. That would be a nice little one to start and get done quickly. I'm gonna keep that one out. Maybe I'll start that one first. And then Be Happy by Summer House Stitchworks. Right, yeah. Hands on Design, Humble Honey, cute pillow. I even have this fabric. I have the stitching fabric too. I need to get that done. Not Forgotten Farm, Feeding the Bees. My daughter's going off with my other daughter. They're going to the museum. my youngest daughter, as I said before, is an art major. So we have a art museum here in Atlanta, and they're masking up and going, and I guess they, like you buy ticket time so that you're not there when a bunch of other people are there, and they space out the times. So yeah, they're gonna mask up and go do that. I think it's the High Museum of Art in Atlanta. So anyway, I love that. It says, "Pardon the weeds, I'm feeding the bees." So cute. Another Little House Needleworks. Ooh, and I have floss in there, which I didn't even realize. Honeybee sampling. That might be another one I start. Their patterns are so good for beginning because they're very straightforward, and I feel like they're simple. I'll put that one here too. I might do that one. And then I have a bunch from Lila's Studio I ordered not too long ago. This one is The Bee Comes. And then by Blackberry Rabbit, the Honey Makers. Oh, isn't that pretty? I love that. I think I have another one by her too. Yes, this one is Queen Bee by Blackberry Rabbit. So those two would look really nice together on the wall. And then from the Blue Flower, and I think this lady, has a floss tube now. I'm not sure. The Quilting Bee. No, girls, my dogs have been so good this whole time. But my daughter's here picking up my other daughter, so hopefully they stay quiet. Okay, Sadie, hi, quiet, quiet. Don't knock over my thing. So this is called, here, she just knocked over my stuff. The Quilting Bee. Stay there. So pretty, but way more elaborate. This is also by Lila's Studio, Bee Sampler. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So cool. And then Birds of a Feather, No Bees, No Honey. Oh, and this one I got like when I first started stitching down at a stitch shop in Fort Lauderdale. Elizabeth Needlework Designs Antique Bee Sampler. Look at that. So cute. And then another Lila Studio. I told you I like her. Save the Bees, and it says, "Plant these, save the bees. Annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees, herbs." And then, last but not least, my Blackbird Designs Honeybee Hill, which, oh, I love this so much. And this is not available anymore, and it is crazy hard to find, so I'm sorry. I paid a fortune for it on eBay. And I had said in one of my last videos, if you haven't watched it, but I was thinking it was a book, like the sewing room book, and like the new one that came out, the Autumn Winds or whatever it's called. But no, it's not a book. It's just a little, it's just these two patterns. But I do love, love, love them. So yeah, so I got to pick one V1 to start this month as well. And then the last thing I just had stuck in here, I'm not sure why, but I am going to make this into a wreath for my laundry room door. It's hands-on design, the never-ending cycle. And it is never-ending. Most of my kids are gone now, so it's better, but oh. So yeah, so I wanted to make that just like this, I think. And I have, my laundry room is actually part of my kitchen, but there's a door, so I thought I would put on that door and it would look pretty. So that is all of my plans, all of my WIPs. If you stuck through to the end here, thank you so much. I want to thank you for all my current subscribers for coming back to watch. For all my new subscribers, thank you for coming. I hope you found some inspiration. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. The like button is the little thumbs up button below, and then there's a red subscribe button, and that will just notify you when new videos come out. So in a week or two, I'll have a new update video. And otherwise, I hope we all Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you have had a great holiday season. I hope your whole family is healthy. Please mask up, please be careful, and we will all get through this. So happy stitching, and I'll see you in a week or two. Bye.